Okay, so Philadelphia has been linked to possibly trading for a really interesting wide receiver. I don't know if it makes sense, but we'll get to that in a second. Also, the Eagles' white Kelly green jerseys have been leaked. First, let's start today's show with Jason Kelce winning a beer chugging contest.
You both, let's get it on. 3, 2, 1, go! All right.
Are you surprised he won that contest? Drop a like if you weren't. Of course, Kelce won, although it's pretty fun to go ahead and watch. He was doing a charity event where he essentially was, hosting some drinks and doing stuff at a bar, and that was part of the contest, was a beer chugging contest against Jason Kelce, and Kelce did win. No surprise there. Let's move over here to the white Eagle alternate Kelly green jerseys that have been leaked. Now, we've seen a lot of leaks regarding the normal Kelly green jerseys, but no renderings of the white ones, although to be honest, it's not like it's that hard to make a fake rendering because it's just the normal Kelly greens, just white, although I will say, goodness gracious, these look absolutely fantastic. I feel like he can wear the greens a couple times, the whites once this year, and mix in the midnight green. Ooh, it's going to be a very, very fun season. The uniform combo for Eagles-Dolphins potentially with both the throwbacks on that Sunday Night Football game could be A+ money. Looking forward and excited about that. All right, over here to the possible trade for Terrace Marshall. Now, this is not any sort of legit reporting because at this time of the year, all of it is speculative. However, there is the idea that the Panthers could be trading former LSU superstar wide receiver Terrace Marshall, who worked a lot with Joe Burrow and was on kind of that incredible national championship team. And the write-up here from Wolf Sports adds the idea that he makes a lot of sense for Philadelphia. Quote, after averaging just 4.6 yards per target as a rookie, Terrace Marshall is averaged 10.4 yards per target last season. Marshall is drawing rave reviews this offseason, and the Panthers might not want to trade an emerging player. However, Carolina also signed Adam Thielen and DJ Chark at receiver during free agency, and they drafted Ole Miss receiver Jonathan Mingo in the second round. With Laviska Shenault also being someone that new Panthers head coach Frank Reich wants to utilize on offense, there's a chance TMJ is available in a crowded group. A team like the Eagles could be an exceptional fit with Marshall as another big play threat in their offense. Now, the issue in trading for Terrace Marshall is really where do you put him on this roster? He needs targets, right? That's kind of the whole argument as to why he needs to get traded from the Panthers. Why would you then give him to the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a bunch of wide receivers battling for really 3 main spots, and 2 of which, Inquez Watkins and Olamide Zaccheaus, are really truly in a battle neck and neck for the 3 spot, and the other one will be the 4 spot. So I like Marshall. I thought he was fantastic coming out of LSU. I thought he was going to be a big play receiver. Hasn't really worked out with the Panthers, but the Panthers quarterback situation hasn't been that great. I just don't know if he fits in Philadelphia, and I'm not really seeing an option here unless the Panthers are just dying to trade him, and Philadelphia says, hey, you want the 7th round draft pick? And they say yes, shake hands, and move on. Over here to what I thought was a really interesting part of the Derek Gunn and Rob Ellis show on Jacob Media. They had an interview with Brandon Graham. It's getting a lot of media attention over the past couple of days because Brandon Graham admitted that the field conditions really hurt the Philadelphia Eagles. He said this, you need that traction to be able to get off the block, and we were slipping a lot. I don't make excuses. I just know that that's what was being talked about, us trying to get out of our own head a little bit too. I'm telling you, that O-line, they got blessed. I'll say that and quote. Obviously, Philadelphia got 0 sacks of Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl, and we all know they were slipping, and we all know that the former Chiefs field guy was the Super Bowl field guy, and he was retiring after that. The whole conspiracy, I don't buy into that sort of thing, but it's true. Now, the argument here is that both teams played on that field, and while that is accurate, Philadelphia's pass rush was definitely a key in winning that football game, and had they gotten a couple of sacks, maybe early on or even later, on what was an injured Patrick Mahomes, maybe it could have been different. Again, you can't make excuses, right? I'm going to see comments down below that instantly say, Thomas, quit making excuses. We lost. I know, we did. I'm not saying that this is the sole reason why, but BG admits it. It was a little tough, slipping and sliding out there. Hopefully in future Super Bowls, the NFL can get the grass a little bit more figured out because you should not have those sort of issues in the biggest game of the season. Over here to some very interesting news. This is going to be something to keep an eye on over the next week or so. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, a handful of NFL players, including Colts cornerback and kick returner Isaiah Rodgers, are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week for allegedly gambling, sources tell ESPN. Now, this is one player, and he's not a Philadelphia Eagle, but this is saying a handful of NFL players. We need to hope and pray no Philadelphia Eagles are getting suspended for the entire year. Now, you can go in the comments section and complain about the NFL's gambling rules while also having DraftKings and, FanDuel and all sorts of other, sports betting partners, and it's very hypocritical, but they don't want gambling by players because then they could be, throwing games in order to win more money because they bet against them or for themselves. Now, Calvin Ridley wasn't betting against the Atlanta Falcons. He was betting for the Atlanta Falcons and still got a full year suspension, which is, to me, a little bit ridiculous, but still, you got to hope and pray no Eagles are on this list because you could really hurt a season if, A.J. Brown was one of the ones who was gambling, or I don't know, Dallas Goedert, or Darius Slay. I'm not saying these guys are, but pick your poison here. I hope these are other teams' players, and I hope the NFL kind of figures out some common ground in terms of figuring out the best way to suspend these guys, because a season-long suspension is a really, really tough thing to come back from, no matter what player you are, what position you come from, and what team you are on. Over here to our final story of the day, Dov Kleiman has an update here on Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. They're projected to sign him to a contract between $25 and $30 million a year, according to John Machota, and there's more there on Bro Bible. This is a very interesting thing for the Dallas Cowboys, who also need to go ahead and extend Dak Prescott. So you're talking about two big-time extensions. This shows you the market for Devontae Smith probably next year, or at least maybe the offseason after that, right? He's coming up on, obviously, the 4th year and then the 5th year contract. He's going into year 3 right now, so we're not mega urgent, but this is the kind of changing wide receiver market that we are seeing. $28, $29, $26 million a year is insane for a receiver, and I love CeeDee Lamb. Not saying that he doesn't deserve it. You got to pay the guy what he's worth, and the market's always going to go up. I think CeeDee Lamb's the best player on the Dallas Cowboys, especially offensively, and is probably the scariest player you face when playing Dallas, but this is a lot of money, and will be very interesting to see how Dallas is going to navigate it, because they got to figure out how to keep Dak Prescott if they want to do so, which I wouldn't, but I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan, and also, of course, afford CeeDee Lamb, who's one of his top targets, and one of the things that keeps Dak Prescott at least mediocre throughout the past couple of seasons. Okay, plenty more stuff happening over the next couple of days and weeks, including tonight, our Wednesday Link Live, just a couple of hours away, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Josh Davis, we're going to get into all of this stuff and a whole lot more. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications. That way it notifies you once we go live, because you have a busy schedule. I have a busy schedule. I don't set my alarm for a 7 p.m. live show, but it's nice when I'm alerted when they do go live. And a lot of you guys, come in late. You say, I wish I would have known. So here's your chance, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't be late. It's going to be a bunch of fun tonight. I'm Thomas Mott. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.